It's one of the most emotional James Bond movies ever made. It gave us Bond's only wedding, one of the greatest ski chases in movie history, and one of the most heartbreaking endings in the entire franchise. But hidden throughout on Her Majesty's Secret Service are dozens of details most fans never notice. By the end of this episode, you'll know 20 things you missed, plus a few bonus secrets we'll sprinkle in along the way, so listen all the way through. Hi, this is Dan.
And Tom.
From Cracking the Code of Spy Movies, and today we're digging deep into one of our favorite Bond movies.
Oh, and be sure to stay to the end, because we're going to highlight some blink and you'll miss it things that we're pretty sure you missed.
Yeah, those are good. All right, number one. Let's start at the beginning. The gun barrel sequence. James Bond goes down on one knee to fire. The only Bond to ever do that. There were stories that George Lazenby had lived this and that they did not want him to do this. And he kept doing it. That's George.
That's George.
Other theories say Peter Hunt thought it would distinguish his work. Nonetheless, George Lazenby is the only Bond to do it.
And you might have missed it. Now, also note that the blood's dripping down and it completely covers James Bond. It's totally opaque. It's not translucent at all. Bam! Is this the foreshadowing of an impending death? We don't know Tracy yet, but maybe it's a foreshadowing here. Bond holds her bloodied hand at the end, so who knows?
Yeah. Number two has ties to Ian Fleming. The opening shot of Bond driving is in Casais, Portugal. We've been there. Gorgeous.
It is.
Yeah, when Tracy passes him up in her red Cougar, Bond lights a cigarette. The close-up reveals that the cigarettes have 3 gold bands on the filter, so these cigarettes that Bond is smoking are intended to be the same brand as those smoked by Ian Fleming in real life, a bespoke Balkan and Turkish tobacco mixture, and in the original novels, Moreland and Company is the company who makes these. The cool part is that these 3 gold bands on the filter symbolize the 3 gold bands or stripes of the rank insignia of a commander in the Naval Intelligence.
Oh, wait a minute.
That was the rank held by both Fleming and Bond. Cool.
Yeah, gotta like 3 stripes. All right, so number 3 has to do with Tracy and Bond's cars in the opening sequence. And when they get to the beach, there's some questions here on this scene.
Yeah, this pre-title is loaded with stuff.
Yeah. As James Bond drives the Aston Martin down the sand, and he stops suddenly. Did you pay attention? Did you miss this? There's screeching noises as he stops on the sand. How are the tires going to squeal on the sand?
Soft sand.
So what happened was the sound effects team and director thought, it would sound better with some kind of tire squealing noise.
Yeah, there you go.
They placed some solid materials under the sand to produce the sound. Now, others say it was added in post-production, but in any case, they still made these tires squeal on the sand. It isn't just when the car stops on the sand. The tires screech when it's leaving the beach, and then when Tracy takes Bond's car, the tire screeches again. It's like, how did this happen?
Yeah. And if you look at the scene, too, there's a couple other little bonuses in here as well. On this beach scene, look at Tracy's car when Bond gets to Quincho Beach. Did you notice that Tracy's passenger side door is open and not the driver's side? I was wondering, why? Note, of course, the steering wheel for her is on the left side of the car, while Bond's is on the right. So the right door of her car is open.
Yeah, so if the steering wheel had been on the right, it would have made sense.
Right. So you think she would have gotten out of the driver's side and to get down to the water as fast as she wanted to get down there or whatever. But it's weird. All right. And of course, observing her, we see the appearance, or reappearance really, of the From Russia with Love AR-7 rifle in the glove box as Bond uses the scope from it to observe Tracy.
Yeah, there's lots of little callbacks to the earlier Bond movies in this movie, which is kind of fun. Another thing on this beach scene, you kind of have to wonder, because after James Bond saves Tracy, she awakens on the beach, and we see these 2 guys attack Bond. One has a gun, but the other holds a knife to Tracy's throat. Now, these are supposed to be Draco's guys, right? I mean, we see them later, and they're Draco's thugs. Why would they be holding a knife to the daughter of their boss?
Yeah.
We don't
I
know
mean,
that she's Draco's daughter at this point, but still, when you look back at it, it's like, what's going on there?
yeah, I mean, when you look at it the first time, you miss it because you're thinking, okay, well, these guys are thinking something's going on with Bond and he's going to be either jeopardizing Tracy's life or whatever. But, when did they appear? After he saved her or whatever, that's what we see him first. So I think we missed it because for the first time, again, we don't know. There is still a problem after Bond saves Tracy. Raphael, who is played by Terrence Mountain, who we interviewed about this whole movie, it's great. Check that out. Raphael was going to shoot and kill Bond for that. Wait a minute. He just saved Tracy's life. Now, Draco's goons, Raphael and the other guy, of course, they didn't realize Bond saved her. Maybe that's the problem here.
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't
they
know.
thought he was attacking her. I don't know.
Yeah. But wow.
Okay, so now you just mentioned Raphael, played by Terrence Mountain.
Yeah.
And there's an oddity with the thugs in this movie, and it's a very bizarre one.
Okay.
The other thug that fought Bond on the beach was played by stunt performer Bill Morgan. And the character's name is Clef, K-L-E-F-F. Now, if you look in the IMDb credits, Bill Morgan is there as Clef with uncredited next to his name. But there's also another actor, Takas Emanuel, who is also listed in the same role on IMDb with uncredited next to his role.
So how did two actors end up with the same role in the same movie?
Okay, well, Emanuel supposedly wouldn't rehearse the beach fight scene, and he ended up getting fired.
Okay. That's good. Wow, that's good. But he's in the wedding scene towards the end of the movie, isn't he?
Well, that's true. He is. But we have to remember that they don't shoot movies in chronological order.
That's true.
The beach fight scene was filmed much later in the production than some of the other scenes. So they didn't reshoot the scenes because Emmanuel was gone. And quite honestly, They never say his name. And if you don't know he's there, you would miss him probably. You end up with two actors playing the same character in the same movie. Yes, Bond changes between movies. Blofeld changes between movies. But here, Clef changes within the movie.
That's cool. All right.
Now, number 4 brings us to the title sequence. And we, of course, know in the title sequence they show us the passage of time, how they transition from Connery to Lazenby by showing us that hourglass with the sand running through it.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention to the title sequences, you probably didn't miss that one.
Right.
But notice when the figure who looks like James Bond is hanging on the clock, the hands are forced to run backwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why? Because immediately after we see the images from Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, and You Only Live Twice that are flowing through the hourglass, the clock is forced to go backwards because time is going backwards because we're seeing the reflections of past missions for Bond.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's all to tell us, yes, this is the same James Bond.
That's clever.
Yeah, so it's easy. It's a nice touch. It's easy to miss, but they really think through these things pretty well.
Yeah, that's a great visual, too. I mean, that's a great way to tell the story in a visually explicit way. That's pretty good. All right, number 5. That brings us to the casino sequence and a connoisseur kind of goof. After Tracy declares she has no money after losing at the baccarat table and Bond covers her, she goes to sit at a table. Bond follows and tells the waiter,
"Don't bring him 57 cents."
I love this.
Now, wait a minute. When Dr. No offered him a Dom Perignon 55, Bond replies,
I prefer the 53 myself.
Now, the 1953 is widely considered the best of the 1950s vintages of Dom Perignon. So Bond in Dr. No knew what he was talking about. Here, he orders a 57. Now, the 53 and the 55 were considered excellent. Why not see if they had one of those at the casino? Budget, maybe? Bond was worrying about money?
Yeah, but in Dr. No, he knew what he was talking about, Dan. Here, this just cracks me up. There's a huge thing you missed here, and everybody misses. Dom Perignon did not put out a 1957 vintage.
Aha!
So
That's good.
they released one in 52, 53, 55, and 59. So not only did he order one he didn't prefer, but he ordered one that didn't exist.
That's pretty good.
Right. So not only did most viewers miss this, but the screenwriter apparently did too.
Wow. All right. That's good. Number 6. Let's get to number 6. That brings us to James Bond and Tracy's rooms at the Palazzo, which, we've stayed at the Palazzo, Tom. Beautiful place.
Very nice hotel.
Yeah. In Tracy's room, when Bond is attacked by Chi-Chi, the large guy hiding in Tracy's room, for a brief moment during the fight, and look, if you look at the movie specifically, it's right at about 14 minutes and 46 seconds.
Well, that really is going to depend on what version of the movie you're watching.
Yeah, but it's around that time. Does Bond say sorry? I think he does.
What?
It is brief. It's just a quick little sorry. Like, is this just a Bond quip or a mistake? Might be a Bond quip, but it's easy to miss. But he does say sorry.
I totally disagree with you on this one.
Oh, no, you're wrong on this one.
If it is, it's one I've missed. And I rewatched that like 15 times after you told me about it. To me, it just sounds like he's grunting. Not sorry.
No. I listened to it many, many times as well. So let's leave it to our listeners to let us know. What do you think? Did he say sorry there? I think he did.
Which one of us missed it?
Yeah. All right. How about this one? We'll give you a bonus one here. When on the veranda of Bond's room at night, when he's lying with Tracy there on that wonderful little couch, and it's a beautiful evening, when Tracy says,
"So you know your perfumes. What else do you know?"
Because Bond recognized the perfume she was wearing. And he says,
A little about women.
A little about women. Tying this scene back to Palmyra in Thunderball.
Oh, yeah.
When Bond tells Largo, when asked if he knows a lot about guns, and Bond says,
No, I know a little about women.
I thought this was brilliant. I thought this was great.
It really was. Like I said, there's lots of little tiebacks to the other movies.
Easy to miss.
Yeah, and we have a few of these references that we're going to talk about in this episode, and we're not talking about all of them.
Oh, right.
All right. For number 7, it's all about going from the hotel to meeting Draco, and then we're in Draco's office.
Mm-hmm.
When Draco's goons take Bond from the hotel to Draco's headquarters, when he's in the car, they don't tell him where he's going, only that he has an appointment. Bond says,
Business or pleasure?
There's no answer, and then Bond quips,
Mystery tour, eh?
Ha!
Well, this makes perfect sense in British culture because mystery tour originated from a British working class tradition popular in the mid-20th century, particularly in northern England, where vacationers would board a coach without knowing their destination.
Oh.
Just take me somewhere.
Well,
it's a mystery tour.
This is brilliant, then. Again, this is great writing if all of that is true. And don't forget, of course, the Beatles released the song Magical Mystery Tour at the end of 1967. So this line could have also referred back to that as well. Who knows?
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
All right, when they get to Draco's office now, we all know the floor sweeper is whistling the theme from Goldfinger. Most people listening to this episode would not have missed that. But
there are 2 things from this Draco's office scene that you probably did miss. And the first is that there's a callback to From Russia with Love. When James Bond throws that knife and hits Draco's calendar, it hits on the number 14. And Draco tells Bond,
But today's the 13th, Commander.
I'm superstitious.
Well, the callback here is that in From Russia with Love, there's a conversation between Bond and Karen Bay in Bay's place when Bond says,
Now all I have to do is to tell the girl the date.
to which Bay replies,
The 13th?
and Bond comes back with,
The 14th.
So they're playing with these 2 dates, the
I like
13th and the 14th, in both of these movies.
yeah, this is good writing again. I love it. That's great. And also, the calendar says it's September. So it's giving the timing of the Christmas events that we will see a little later in the movie. So this makes sense. Good.
Now, there's another thing in Draco's office. It's something that many, many people miss. We often hear the James Bond cast and crew talking about Eon Productions keeping a family atmosphere during production. Well, here's a great example. When Draco is talking about his wife, Tracy's mother, there's a picture of her on the table. And it's supposed to be Tracy's mother. Well, in real life, it was Tracy's mother, or the actor who played Tracy, Diana Rigg. It's a picture of Diana Rigg's mom.
All right. Now that is indeed a nice touch. That is terrific. Wow. All right. Let's get on to number 8. We have to go to Bern, Switzerland, and to Gumbold's office. When Bond is in Gumbold's office in Bern, Switzerland, cracking his safe, the safe cracking equipment is hoisted by crane from across the street to the balcony where Bond awaits it. There is a construction job site there. So a crane is likely and normal. But look at whose construction company it is. Draco is on one of the pieces of equipment. Nice cooperation there, huh? That's kind of similar to what happened in The Spy in White when Larry gets the turkey and we see Duncannon's business name on the window of a building. So this is pretty cool. And why this all worked, Draco.
Well, it really was. And the fact that that crane delivered something. If you remember in Funeral in Berlin, that prison escape was done by a bucket crane as well.
Yeah.
Cranes can be a handy thing for spy movies.
Yeah. All right.
All right. And then, of course, there's the Playboy magazine that Bond is perusing in Gumbold's office.
Yes.
Now, it's the February 1969 issue of Playboy magazine.
The real one.
On Her Majesty, the real one.
Yeah, okay.
So, On Her Majesty's Secret Service was published in sections in Playboy. So this was a nice way to honor that relationship.
Yeah, and the centerfold is the real centerfold, and her name was Laurie Menconi. Wow. So be careful if you look up her name online, though. I searched her name, and when I opened the first link, the page had many of her nude photos. So, you got to be careful.
What do you mean be careful? Give me that link. I think I have some research to do, Dan.
Okay, then look carefully. All right, number 9 brings us back to London and the London College of Arms. At the College of Arms, we get to see James Bond's family crest for the first time. The World Is Not Enough, which later becomes Brosnan's third James Bond movie in 1999, 30 years later. So while at the College of Arms, which we've been to, Tom, also, terrific place,
Yes, it is.
Bond meets Hilary Bray. In Ian Fleming's novel, this character is called Sable Basilisk. Sable Basilisk.
Hey, come on, Harry Potter, Basilisk.
Oh, Basilisk. So, to tie Bray to Fleming's novel, they gave Bray the title Sable Basilisk Pursuivant. I don't even know what that means.
I don't either.
What the heck? But anyway, they did. So that's kind of cool. All right. So this short scene has ties to both Ian Fleming's novel and a Bond movie that will come out decades later. So we'll talk about another coat of arms reference once we get to Piz Gloria.
Okay, well, let's start that journey to Piz Gloria.
All right, let's get to Piz Gloria. Number 10 shows us a real newspaper, and we read about a real football manager's firing. What? Yeah, let's start that journey now. When Bond is getting to Switzerland to meet Blofeld, when the train is pulling up, Campbell is there, and he's reading a newspaper.
Now, that's the blonde guy that Blofeld killed later. He was really an MI6 agent, but when you're watching the movie, you don't really get that because that side story about Campbell gets cut.
Yeah.
So it ends up making him more mysterious, but he was an MI6 agent.
Yeah, but he was the guy who put the safe cracking equipment into the bin that Bond got at Gumbold's office.
Yeah, he's been working with Bond here.
Yeah. So one headline on the newspaper reads, "Why Brown Had to Go." Now, in reality, at the time, this was a true story. Alan Brown was the football coach for the Luton Town Football Club. He was a famous footballer who then became a coach. Brown had a falling out with the board of directors. Even though he had a winning program, he was replaced by Alex Stock, which is why the top line of text says, "Stock steps in at Luton." So this does give us a glimpse as to what was happening in December 1968 when they filmed this scene.
I could just see him saying, "Oh, we can't just have him standing there. Give him a newspaper.
I mean,
Somebody grab me a newspaper."
I love stuff like that. All right, for number 11, we'll use a term from You Only Live Twice. Sexyful. What? To be sure, sexyful stuff happens at Piz Gloria.
All right, Tanaka.
Hey, when we end up at Piz Gloria, there Bond tells the female patients about genealogy. He mentions Byzance as on a coat of arms, and one asks what they are, and Bond replies, "Gold balls." Okay. The one who writes her room number on his leg with lipstick, she smiles. She's Ruby Bartlett. And Bond says he has 4, if she would like to see them. Okay, you got 4. All right. Now, when Bond gets called to his meeting, Ruby utters a single word.
Peasants.
Byzance. Easy to miss if she says that, but she does. Byzance. She's thinking about balls.
Okay, I'm going to say something and then I'm going to play this clip so you can hear it.
Yeah.
Because I know what you're thinking, and Dan says it's easy to miss. But listen closely. She just doesn't say balls. She's giving a response to the angel who says,
Of course, I know what he's allergic to.
Remember, Bond has been hinting that he isn't into women.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Ruby's responsive Bezance tells us that she knows he's really into women.
Yeah, that's good. All right. I love it. Ruby, by the way, was played by the actor Angela Scolar, who had previously played the role of Buttercup in the 1967 James Bond spoof Casino Royale. How about that?
Okay, now there's a fantastic, albeit a bit off-color story about this scene.
Oh, an off-color story. All right.
And it shows what a consummate actor Scolar was. Watch Ruby's reaction when she reaches down to write her room number on Bond's leg.
Uh-huh.
Well, when they filmed this, they played a prank on her, and they strapped a sausage to Lazenby's leg. They figured they'd get a reaction out of the actress, and we'll reshoot. But as you see, she gave no reaction. Right? And then she supposedly later told Lazenby that he should have worn an undergarment for filming.
All right. If that's true, that's good. I like that. All right. Well, we all know the myth about what men do or don't wear under their kilts. So, and later on, she says, she does say something about that, actually, right? Let's conclude this sexyful talk by mentioning another great line that you may have missed. The morning after Hilly/Bond has had some fun with the two women, Blunt sees him as the girls are curling and says,
"Your stiffness of last night, it is all gone."
And Bond says,
For the time being, I think.
okay. All right. Now, it's easy to miss the reference to him saying a bit of stiffness has come on after Ruby from room number 8 writes her room number on his leg with the lipstick that we just talked about the night before. So I thought that was a good tie-in. It was clever.
Yeah, it really is. All right, for number 12, we'll stay at Peace Gloria and highlight some of the non-sexiful things there. First, did Dr. No's jacket style influence Blofeld's clothing in On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Yeah, I wonder about that too, you know? Yeah. Did it? I don't know. I would agree with that. I thought about it. But one thing I initially missed had to do with Blofeld's Angels of Death, though. How was Blofeld going to actually eradicate all the plants and livestock with only his Angels of Death that we saw? Bond wonders how he will spread the virus. And Blofeld says,
I have been training my own special Angels of Death.
Bond realizes, those girls are his Angels of Death.
Yeah, but would only a handful of girls be able to do this? I think you need more than just what's in that room.
Yeah, here's the thing I think most of us missed. Blofeld actually says in response,
those girls, and many others like them.
Again, an easy line to miss. But the assumption is Blofeld has trained all he needs, and this isn't just the only bunch he trained. So I thought this was good. One line,
that is
easy to miss.
That is.
All right. Another thing you missed at Piz Gloria has to do with Blofeld's lineage. We can clearly see here on the wall at Piz Gloria Blofeld's coat of arms. And the Latin inscription reads, Are et Foci. And it's a Latin phrase meaning altars and hearths, but it's most commonly translated as hearth and home. So it represents a deep devotion to family, home, and tradition, often used to signify the protection of one's household.
Oh, that's Blofeld in a nutshell.
Yeah, but I mean, this is how good Blofeld is here, though. He's played this scam off to the max, having this on the wall there. That's pretty damn good. Now, it may have been his crest in reality, but wow, the meaning of it, I thought was great.
Yeah, it really was. All right, now another thing when they were up there is when Bond's hanging onto that icy cable for that cable car system.
Yeah, escaping from the room. Yeah,
when he's trying to escape. There were 3 stunt performers, at least, that were involved here. There was Chris Webb, Richard Dickey Graydon, and then one I'm going to talk about in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys performed these dangerous stunts at Shiltorn, the mountain there.
Yeah.
But they were using hidden hooks and safety harnesses to prevent a certain death fall. But even with these hooks that were there to protect them, in the book titled Some Kind of Hero, they talk about how those hooks froze, and it caused the stunt performers to nearly slide down the length of the run. Can you imagine how scary that would have been?
It would have been.
Yeah.
You couldn't have paid me too much to do that.
Yeah. And stunt performer George Leach, who was in a lot of Bond movies, dislocated his arm because of this.
Yikes. All right, let's get to number 13, and we're staying in the mountains here. Bond takes some skis to escape when he does escape, right? He takes them. But then, when he's about to leave the room and ski down the mountain to escape, all of a sudden, he has ski poles, too. Where'd he get those?
Yeah. I missed that one.
I watched it over and over again.
Continuity is not a strength of a James Bond movie. Or you could just call it movie magic. I'm not sure which way to look at that one.
Yeah. And when Blofeld's guys are firing at him, they're hitting snow, of course, because they can't hit Bond. No one can ever hit Bond, no matter how many rounds you fire at him. But they're hitting snow. But you see a flame pop up from the squib that was blowing up in the snow. A bullet hitting snow is not going to do that.
Well, maybe there was a rock in that snow, Dan.
Yeah, right. It
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
It happens more than once, though. So it's like, okay, all right. I thought that was good. All right, let's move on.
After that, when they're in the town and Bond's sitting there and Tracy ice skates up to him, we get another callback to these unlikely sound effects that we talked about on the beach. Because here, in this scene, Tracy's
this is a car
tires...
chase on snow, right? This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, the car chase on snow. And the tires, again, this is still all Tracy's car. The tires screech on heavy snow when Bond is chasing Tracy and Bond. So, Bond's tires screech on the sand, Tracy's screech on the snow.
Yes, that's good. So, yeah, and by the way, when you mentioned Tracy skating up to Bond, in reality, Diana Rigg did not know how to skate, and that was somebody else skating up to Bond. So there you go. You just see the legs. You remember. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get on to number 14, Tom. Come on.
All right. So let's get on to a very important scene in this movie, number 14. Yeah. And this one brings us to a hidden meaning in barn doors. When Bond and Tracy get inside that barn out of the storm, and the storm is just raging outside, it's kind of chaotic, but they're now inside, secure from the madness and the evil of the storm, secure from the car chase. But the storm briefly tries to get inside when those double wooden shutter things flutter open and close. And then Bond jumps up to secure it.
That, to me, was a meaningful moment.
Oh, yeah.
We just did the episode on I Mean It, which that whole scene takes place in the barn here when he proposes and all that. But this scene with the shutters flapping and Bond securing them, it told us that for the moment, the storm cannot touch them. The storm, the world, the bad, the enemies, Bond just locked it out. It's easy to miss the hidden meaning here, but it is telling us something very different that's going to happen now. Bond is closing out the chaotic real world, trying to leave it behind, at least for the moment. Wow.
Yeah, and it's a deliberate setup to the next scene that we're going to talk about here, because the next scene is going to be different. We get this peaceful moment in a Bond movie. Yeah. And number 15 brings back a little bit of Sexiful.
Oh, right? Wow, we're bringing back Sexiful. All right.
We're bringing back Sexiful.
Yeah, I think we got that. So, yeah. All right, after James Bond proposes to Tracy, it looks like they're going to maybe make love.
You think?
Bond stops and says, though,
The proper time for this is our wedding night.
And that's my New Year's resolution.
Whatever you say, darling.
And that is yours.
Then, when Bond knocks Tracy off the sleeping area in the barn there, and she rolls down into him, and he says,
It's not New Year yet.
Meaning they will perhaps make love now. Now, watch the horses right after they embrace. I mean, God, this is another one easy to miss. They actually turn their heads away and snort. Now, maybe they're getting their own ideas, or maybe they're just too shy. But it's easy to miss, but it's really a nice touch here.
I love that shot because we have a very serious conversation, and the horses added a bit of levity here, however short-lived it is. Yeah. We know, and the horses know, it's not proper to watch what's going to go on next.
All right, let's get on to number 16, Tom.
Number 16 is a clue. When Blofeld's goons finally find the barn and enter it, we should notice immediately that the two pairs of skis that were on the rear deck of the Cougar are now gone.
Aha.
Easy to miss this, but it gives us a clue as to how Bond and Tracy are going to try to escape. Now, maybe they should have put a blue paw on the screen near the back of the car.
A clue! A blue paw? What?
Yeah, okay. I was trying to be cute here. There was a TV show in the late 90s and up through 2006 called Blue's Clues.
Oh, yeah.
Blue was this dog, and we see a We'd see a blue paw print whenever there was a clue for us to recognize.
Okay.
A blue paw print on the back of Tracy's cougar would have helped us recognize that was a clue.
Okay, there's a stretch.
Never mind. You get the point.
Yeah. My daughter used to watch that show. All right. We'll leave your little Blues Clues in this episode, Tom. That's nice. All right. Now we see the skis are missing, but I have another question about this ski chase. When did Tracy change her clothes? She was ice skating with a short skirt and a top on, and then jumps in the car to escape, and she's in the barn, and she still has the skirt on and the top, and when they're about to go to sleep, she still has the same stuff on, and then they're skiing down the slopes from the barn when we see her in the same brown colors, but she has a top and pants on now.
Okay, Dan, remember the horses we just talked about?
Yeah.
She might have changed clothes after all that. I mean, she could have had a bag in the car. We never see her change, but if she was going to go skiing, she probably would have changed. Right now, if they were running out because they knew the thugs were coming, she wouldn't have had time to change, but you never know.
That's the point, right? I mean, she's not going to go get the bag out of the car and change and say, oh, well, here they come. They're bursting through the door. No. I think, okay, it remains a mystery, but wow. I noticed that, and I thought, that's weird. All right, number 17, the walls start tumbling down. Now, we know that Blofeld launches a small flare-type explosive to cause an avalanche. In reality, it was a real avalanche that was caused intentionally with controlled explosives on the Chingle Ridge in Switzerland. The Swiss Army helped to accomplish this in the spring of 1969. According to WhatCulture.com, this avalanche ended up burying the film crew in 4 feet of snow. It was about a 2-mile avalanche. Now, fortunately, nobody was injured, at least reportedly, and the second unit director, John Glenn, captured the footage, which they considered so valuable that they flew it to Pinewood Studios on 2 separate planes for safety. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, well, when you capture something that precious, be very careful with it. Now, unlike in Avalanche Express, the 1979 movie, which we decoded, the avalanche there was purely a technical effect. But here, it was a real avalanche.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. All right, number 18. For number 18, let's take the gondola or a helicopter back up the mountain to the start of the attack on Piz Gloria. Now, Tom, I know how much you love gondola rides. We took that very gondola up to Piz Gloria.
Let's take a helicopter next time, Dan. Although I don't know how comfortable I'd be with that either.
Well, hey, that's just what they did in the movie, right?
That's true.
Remember, when the assault on Piz Gloria starts, they think Tracy is at Piz Gloria. Still, machine guns are blaring from the Draco helicopters through the Piz Gloria windows. Grenades are being thrown. Wow, I mean, did we ever think at the time, is this a good idea? What if we hit Tracy? Draco didn't know where she was in there. Draco likely didn't want her to get hit. Nonetheless.
Remember, we started this talking about the fact that there was a knife at Tracy's throat in the pre-title from one of Draco's thugs. Now we have them indiscriminately shooting at a place she's supposed to be. Maybe Draco's henchmen really don't like Tracy.
Draco is there, part of the raid. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right. I like this part. During the attack, Bond slides on the ice, firing at the Piz Gloria defenders. This is the same icy spot that Bond so clumsily slipped and slid on when curling as Sir Hilary Bray. So here he slides forward, seemingly in complete control. So I thought this was a neat throwback to the earlier part of the movie. Earlier, he was trying to make Hilary Bray look non-masculine. This time we see how very much Bond was in control. I thought that was a nice touch.
You've got the 2 different characters he played. He played like Bond trying to be Hilary Bray.
Right, yeah. I thought it was great.
And now it's like, no, I'm this superhero.
Yeah. All right, number 19 is a second breaking of the fourth wall in this movie. Maybe. Well, let's see. We all know that George Lazenby broke the fourth wall and spoke directly to the audience at the end of the pre-title sequence when he said,
This never happened to the other fella.
but there is a second time the fourth wall gets broken, and it happens during this attack. When Bond is photographing the map of where the viruses will be released, notice with each snap a photograph of one of the angels of death pops up to show us, the viewer, which one is responsible for that area. It's not on the map per se, but just to show us. I missed that like 10 times.
Yeah, and it's not like displayed on a window in the room for anybody else to see. It's just there. And to me, this is a very subtle breaking of the fourth wall. It's not as in your face as him turning to the camera and saying, that never happened to the other fella.
Yeah.
But this is still, hey, audience members, this is for you.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird because obviously that map didn't have that technology. And why would it pop up when he's taking a picture? It was all for us. It's very bizarre, I thought. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get on to our last one, Tom. Kind of.
Well, it's not really our last one. We're going to do a bonus. Remember, we said we're going to do a bonus.
Kind of.
All right. So number 20 is all about continuity or lack thereof in the attack sequence.
Okay.
We know that James Bond is a good shot, and we often mock his adversaries for not being able to hit anything, right? Especially trying to hit Bond.
Yeah.
But here, Bond has a chance to put Blofeld away for good. And when Blofeld shoots at Bond, remember, he's above and he's shooting down at him.
Yeah.
He shoots at him when Bond's photographing the map.
Yeah.
Bond turns around and fires with a machine gun at Blofeld. But he can't hit him. It's like he's a Blofeld henchman all of a sudden. In fact, notice Bond's shot as he's pursuing Blofeld. His shot is straight ahead, not up. Remember, we told you, Blofeld's above him.
Yeah.
Now, maybe Bond just pulled his trigger by mistake, but it sure looked like he was a Blofeld henchman and not James Bond at that point.
I just want to point out this one thing in this same scene, and it's something I missed many times. Blofeld, while he's running and being chased by Bond and being shot at, like we are just talking about, Blofeld has his brown jacket open, and he's running, and boom, boom, boom. Now, somehow, while he's running and being shot at, he had time to button up his brown jacket, because in the map room, it was definitely open, and now it's buttoned.
When you're being chased, you want to tidy things up again.
Yeah. Now, there's another continuity issue during this attack. While Draco's counting down for his set explosives to blow Piz Gloria to pieces, he gets down from 5 to now. 5, 4, 3, boom, now. But now is not, well, it's not now. About 6 seconds passed before the explosion, just enough that was needed to get Blofeld and Bond away from the exploding Piz Gloria.
Come on, countdowns in Bond movies are never exactly accurate.
Why didn't they tighten this up? Of course, without their escape, we would never get the great Olympic-like bobsled run we get and the chase there and all that. And also, hey, why is Draco smiling when it all blows up? He has no idea if Bond got out alive. I mean, man, he is
He
cool.
doesn't care about Bond. He doesn't care about his daughter. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. All right.
But like I said, though, if you think about Goldfinger or From Russia with Love, countdowns to times don't exactly happen exactly the way we think they should.
No.
Now, speaking of countdowns, since this is a countdown of the top 20-ish things that you missed, let's add another bonus discussion, and this time around the wedding reception. Because there's some things here you would have missed. We'll still finish this episode with the blink and you'll miss it moments, but let's talk about the wedding reception.
All right.
For the wedding reception, it's done at the courtyard of Draco's mansion.
Which we've been to.
We've been to that mansion, and the real servants who worked in the real mansion were used as servers and helpers at the celebration. The mansion was really the Davino estate in Zambujal, southeast of Lisbon, Portugal. Now, Dan, you and I were there.
Yeah.
We were in that very courtyard.
Yes.
And we spoke to a young gardener whose grandmother was one of the servants in the movie. This wasn't a studio set. This was a real mansion with real workers from the mansion in the movie.
How about that? Right. Now, personally, I love the reception when Draco is telling Tracy towards the end there when Bond and Tracy are about to leave.
Remember, obey your husband in all things. You promise me?
Now, we know how tough and independent Tracy has been all along here. So this will get a great response from Tracy. And her response was,
Of course I will. As I've always obeyed you.
hey, you're not paying attention much there. But that's another fantastic line. I thought it was like, wow, easy to miss that one too. But great stuff.
Yeah. Now, if you don't know your Bible, you'll miss this one. When Bond gives Draco back the £1 million at the wedding reception, he tells Draco,
An old proverb. Prices far above rubies, or even your £1 million.
Now, you may not know this is an adaptation of a biblical quote, and I'll use the King James Bible version of it here. Proverbs 31:10 says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? Her price is far above rubies."
Wow, that's a good find. I like that. That's good. All right, and here's something else I think we missed. When Draco is sending them off, he reminds Tracy about his birthday next year.
Teresa, just because you're Mrs. Bond, don't forget my birthday next year.
Have I ever?
Both of you. Or maybe all of you.
Boy, what could he have meant there, Dan?
Yeah. I mean, okay. They're going to have kids or something? This is a different Bond movie. And in the car, Tracy says for a wedding present,
3 girls, 3 boys. Pleased?
Not bad for a start.
okay, Bond.
From a guy who was an orphan, he wants to have that many kids. Okay.
Yeah. And then he says, of course,
Darling, now we have all the time in the world.
all right, this is a different Bond, a human Bond. Dreams, of course, we know, are soon shattered. So just before the sad ending, Bond quips,
I didn't even send you flowers.
but she said,
Anyway, you have given me a wedding present. The best I could have. The future.
She got that wrong.
okay, very sad. I mean, the saddest ending in any Bond movie ever. Notice, though, when Tracy does die, the violence is denied to the audience, to us.
Yeah, you don't see her getting shot. Yeah.
It forces us to experience the loss with Bond, not as a spectacle. And I thought that was a brilliant move there, too. This makes the moment even more poignant. That was a great piece of directing and acting. Terrific.
Let's wrap this up with the 7 blink and you'll miss it moments in the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
And the first one is fairly well known. Peter Hunt, the director, he pulls an Alfred Hitchcock stunt by making an obscure, quick cameo appearance. He appears as a reflection in the bottom left corner of the brass plaque at Universal Exports shortly after the gun barrel sequence, as part of the pre-title.
Yeah, it's quick.
It is quick.
All right, number 2, the map book they show for just a second on the seat in the pre-title sequence in the car that Bond is driving is actually a map of Portugal, which is cool.
Yeah. Now, for our younger listeners, we used to have to carry around these books with something called a map in it to help us figure out where to go. This movie came out 36 years before Google Maps was born. So having an open map on the passenger seat was a common occurrence for us old-timers back then. Now, our third blink and you'll miss it moment, or maybe if you can't freeze frame, you're going to miss this. It's in James Bond's room at the Palazzo. When James Bond comes back from fighting Chi-Chi in Tracy's room, he's already had the beluga caviar. He takes his jacket off. You can see his golf bag leaning against the desk. Mm-hmm. Now you have to look closely and really fast for this. Blinking, you're going to miss it. But the initials JB are emblazoned on the golf bag. It's tough to see, but trust me, it's there. I freeze framed it. It's there.
I missed it. That's for sure. All right, number 4 is something that didn't happen. So we're going to talk about that. When James Bond enters the office with Moneypenny there, he throws his hat on the coat rack on a hook nearest the door. That's not what you missed. In the earlier Bond movies, there were continuity errors and the hat switched hooks all the time. Here, it remains there until he takes it. It does not switch hooks like in the previous Bond movies.
So you missed that they didn't not do something.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5, a really quick product placement here. During that car derby on the ice, there's a billboard for Corgi, which makes many of the model cars that many of us James Bond fans collect.
Yeah. Number 6 is a consistent inconsistency in the franchise. Blofeld's facial scar subtly shifts positions depending on angle and the lighting. James Bond's scar moved in From Russia with Love as well and was slightly different in shape and texture when we saw it with Sylvia Trench and then Tanya in that movie as well. So, okay, we get some inconsistencies.
Let's finally wrap this up with the fact that the Blofeld actor in this movie meets James Bond in the clinic. And they obviously hadn't met before.
Yeah.
But they've met in the movies.
Yeah.
But this lines up with the books, because we have to remember the movies and the books aren't in sync.
Right.
In the movies, we first see Blofeld's face in You Only Live Twice, which was the movie before On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But You Only Live Twice was the novel after On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So Blofeld had to appear in You Only Live Twice first, the movie, which causes this continuity problem.
Yes, it does. All right, we've given you 20 things to look for the next time you watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
And maybe a bit more.
Tell us how many of these you already knew by hitting us up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Spy Movie Navigator. And that is a wrap. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to our show. That helps get more people to enjoy our show. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. And remember, Trust no one except us.
Thanks for listening.